Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Valpo Basketball Weekly, presented by our friends at Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute. Brandon Vickery with you. Glad to be joined by the head coach of the Valpo men's basketball program, Roger Powell Jr. And coach, in the post-game press conference on Saturday, you touched on how one of your players, Isaiah Stafford, has gone through a tough family situation. How do you view your role as a coach beyond the basketball piece, and how do you approach supporting and being there for a player when they're going through something difficult off the court?
I think a big piece is, man, I love them. I love them with all my heart, man. All my players, I care about them as young men. Obviously, I think part of that has to do also with my ministry background, and obviously my nickname is Rev, but I am a minister. So, you know, um, somewhat being a shepherd of this program and being a steward of the hearts of these young men, I take that very serious, and God holds me accountable into how I love them. Now, obviously you got to coach them hard and you got to push them, and sometimes playing time and different things. You guys can be upset with you about that, but the one thing I will always do, and I will always be consistent, is I'm gonna love you as a young man. I'm gonna love you more than a basketball player. I'm gonna give you truth. I'm gonna be truthful. I'm gonna be fair, and I'm gonna push you to reach your God-given potential as a basketball player, as a student athlete, and as a future ambassador for your family and for whatever community you're in. And I think that I take all that stuff serious. Our staff takes it very serious, and I think guys respond to it. And Isaiah Stafford, uh, you know, the day before we played against Missouri State, a game that I think we could have had a chance to win with him playing, I got an opportunity to, hey, practice what I preach.
Let's talk about the fan base a little bit. We started to see attendance start to climb the last couple Saturday games. The building has had some electricity in it, particularly that game against UIC. What's your message to the fan base in terms of where you're at as a program and their role and their importance in building this program going forward?
Yeah, they're extremely important. Every game, when they're doing the national anthem and starting lineups, I always look up in the corners of the arc. And for me, I remember when that was full, and I remember the energy and the electricity in the gym, and just the understanding when you came and played in Valpo in the arc, like it was going to be loud, and we were going to have a strong home court advantage. And even looking down the student section, like I remember all the fans there, painted faces, painted guys with shirts off, with the shield on their painted on their chest. Like it was electric, and that's what I remember. So as it continues to kind of gradually come back, and the UIC game. I mean, I think the fans were a big part of the reason we were able to win that game. You know, that's where my heart is going towards. That's what my hope is, to get this place back to the environment uh, that I remember. And I think our fans are appreciating, especially ones that know basketball, appreciating where we are as a program, and appreciating the fight of the young men that are out there competing and trying to help build this program back. Some of these young players that I've been able to bring in, I mean, I didn't have a lot of time to recruit, but man, my staff, we did a great job with, some of the young talent that we were able to get, in such a short time. But that young talent is not always going to be young. And I want our fans to understand, like, last game I started 4 freshmen because Stafford didn't play. They're not going to be freshmen for their whole career. They're going to grow. They're going to get stronger. They're going to develop. And, this offseason, we're going to go out and we're going to bring in some really good transfers that are older to match with the young talent we have. So I want our fans to understand, like, where we are right now, they are a part of a story that is being written. And they're a major piece of that story. So as they come out and as they join us, it's going to be pretty cool for them to be a part of where Valpo is in a year, 2, 3 years from now. Like, they get to see the ground level. And the ground level, to be honest, is pretty exciting when you think that we're one of the youngest teams in the country and we're competing in a league that's very old and has a lot of really good teams. So stick with us, join us, be a part of what we're doing, because I'm telling you, we are building something special.
One of those special young players is Cooper Schwieger, and when I ask you about him all the time, but one question that I get a lot about him is is what he's doing a surprise to everyone? And I kind of laugh and say that, well, the first time I talked to Coach about him, he compared him to Drew Timme and Alec Peters. So how much of how well he's played is a surprise to you, or how much of it did you see coming?
Well, I mean, if I was comparing to Drew Timme and Alec Peters, and I mean, you look at what he's doing in his numbers as a freshman, uh, it's actually kind of right on par with Drew Timme and Alec Peters. Now, will he end up being as good as those guys when his career is all said and done? I don't know. I believe he will. I believe he has a chance to be an all-time leading scorer here. I mean, it's hard to do that, but I believe he has a chance to kind of be in that conversation as a freshman. Um, I believe teams are basically keen on him. This is a kid that didn't have any offers really out of high school, but now he's like the main piece of Missouri Valley opposing team scouting reports. I mean, this is fascinating, but I saw it. And that's something that I think just over the years as being a coach and being a recruiter, like I'm able to see the potential in young athletes and, being able to see Chet Holmgren when he was at top 100 camp before he kind of blew up, Alec Peters, seeing him as a sophomore at Washington, Illinois and projecting or where I thought he could be. I mean, these are guys, and those are guys that I'll be able to see, in the very early stages. And I saw some of that. I saw some of that in Cooper, and so I'm not super surprised in his productivity. I mean, this is kind of what I believe, his freshman year would be. Just to be honest.
Let's talk about Darius Tiavero, and let's talk about the improvement that he's made. A year ago in conference play, he averaged 1.4 points per game. He's increased that by 10 points per game in conference play to 11.3 this year. How has he improved so much in a short period of time? And how has he grown not only on the court, but how has he grown from being a sophomore on a team that was filled with fourth and fifth and sixth year players last year to a junior on a team filled with freshmen?
It's pretty fascinating, that growth in his productivity in league. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And that's a credit to his work, his belief in our staff, his belief in me, buying into, like shooting the ball and actually being a threat offensively. I mean, I had to really encourage him this summer and push him in that, and he's done it. And you're seeing the fruit from that. And then his leadership, he's only had 3 guys left over from the last program or the last staff, but like he's kind of risen, to become someone that really, really buys into me as a head coach. And it's been fun to watch, and I'm excited for his continual increase, how much better he continues to get. I think it's something that I think needs to be mentioned more in this league, because when you look at, there's some high level players that have made huge jumps, but I mean, I got to think that Darius is up there with the top of them.
No doubt. Let's look ahead to Wednesday's game against Drake. Drake is undefeated at home. They have the 5th longest home winning streak in the country. They're battling for another league crown. What makes them so good? What challenges do they present for you on Wednesday night?
Well, I mean, Brody and DeVries are they're a load. I mean, obviously last game against Brody, we really struggled. So we got to do a better job against him. I mean, DeVries, we got to really do a good job against him as well. I mean, 20 points, 29 points is the last game. He's playing at a high level. I mean, he can make shots from anywhere on the court, and he's a hard match for anybody. But I felt like the first half, Cooper got in foul trouble, got some calls on him. I think hopefully he's not getting those same calls, called on him now, as he's kind of established himself in this league as a good player. So he didn't get to play most of the first half, and we battle with him. I think we've done a good job of late, when teams make their runs, not just totally breaking down. So, hoping, some of that growth in our team, we'll be able to carry over to, Wednesday night. But with that being said, I mean, they're a great team. They have veteran players, high level players, all league player of the year type caliber players, right? So it's going to be a challenge, but our guys are going to go in and we're going to just do like we've been doing all year. We're going to compete. We're going to fight. We're going to try to take away things that they're good at, and we're going to try to play with our pace and hopefully make some shots and make it interesting.
There is that.
I have the belief, though, in this team. I believe we can beat anybody in this league on any given night if things come together. So we're going to go in there with the belief that we're hopefully going to be able to snap that winning streak.
There he is, the head coach of the Valpo men's basketball program, Roger Powell Jr. Not only a game against Drake on the road on Wednesday, but a home game this week. We hope to see you out. We talked about the importance of the fans. It's a 3 o'clock tip time on Saturday with Evansville in town at the Arc. ValpoAthletics.com/tickets for ticket information. We'll talk to you again next week on Valpo Basketball Weekly, brought to you by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute.